pull this over. You saw your microphone. Okay. All right, we can mute that for the moment.
There's that. I know you've seen the AI song cover.
Which one?
Just any of the ones I sent you. Most of the time, it's always an Elton John song cover.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see that one.
It's fucking gold is what that is, dude.
Man, I was trying to get that bookshelf out of the shot. But to see me... Unless I get all sexy close to you.
I told your wife I was going to do stuff to you. I look like a...
You know, you can sit up.
I could. I don't wanna.
Then you have no one to blame but yourself.
And Kraft. I blame Kraft.
Blame Kraft?
Like, where am I? See, there you go. All right.
It's not a stomach, it's a shelf.
Platform.
I'm just gonna close this so that I get more of the light.
Couch, multiple cameras, studio lights.
What's that?
It's not a black couch though, so I'm safe.
Well, I talked into this like the microphone is here. All right, I gotta pull up our chat so if anybody sees us. Man, this is like the one thing it's like I wish we did more of. But it's so hard. It's not like there's announcements all the time.
Yeah, that is. See, now I got that song stuck in my head.
It's like, you know.
Jesus, collect. Oh, that was only...
Yay, Hoser can see and hear us.
I'm sorry.
No, wait, I wanted chat. Come back. Chat has moved. No, that's not what I want. Discard. No, we are not at Nova Open right now.
2 days.
Well,
2 more days. Chris will be there, and then
tomorrow I'll be there.
Oh, that's right, because it's a Thursday to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying not to get the top of my head cut off while I get stuff set up. No, this is just in the basement, like literally just the cameras turned so that we can have the TV up there with the stream. Actually, you know what? I'm going to turn this on, but turn it low so at least if somebody starts talking, we can be like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. Shouldn't you be busy playing snap ships? That's funny right there. That's funny right there. I don't care who you are. He says, who says I'm not? All right, I need to pop up and grab the chat or grab the... This is going to be funny because you're not going to know a lot about what's going on.
I'm not going to know shit about shit. I did see a TikTok about an interesting Terminator.
What about it?
Red Wake. Was that who it was?
This is unfamiliar to me. Doesn't mean you're wrong.
He's so huge of an already huge person.
Mm-hmm.
They had to put dreadnought plate on his armor just to
which of these
armor
four?
him.
Which of these four traitor Primarchs was the first to become an immortal demon? Well, it was Angeron. It was Angeron.
It was number 1.
Yeah. They literally killed. There was a whole planet thing to kind of put a demon into him.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole book about it called Betrayer and stuff. Which is funny because I read that around the time that they brought back Angeron. It just happened to be what was next on the Horus Heresy books. All right, now let me get the chat back up. Look, we're early. How awesome is this? And my head's still cut off. Oh, okay, so it's... There we go.
Tiberos the Red Wake.
Oh, let me see.
That is not what we wanted.
That's funny. I need a chat only option like there is for Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing Twitch has got going.
Maybe I sent it to you.
I don't remember seeing anything, but there was some stuff that always pops up that's like, this has gone away now.
Oh yeah, that happens.
So let us know if you can hear us. Actually, you don't need to, because... All right, so we are here. This is Boards and Swords. I called this an oddball stream because it's even oddball for the oddball streams.
That is correct.
But we are going to be watching. We are sitting here in our cozy little studio. We are going to be shortly watching the Nova Open, kind of one of the standby, or one of the kind of, it's almost like a keynote for Nova, because not a lot of the events have happened yet. But it's kind of on everybody's... This will probably be what everybody's talking about in Nova. So, as you can see right now, they got the questions going up there.
Yeah, movie trivia.
This is Warcry. Yeah, where's Maria Menounos? I need Maria Menounos to dub this, and then I'd be totally interested.
Yes.
Especially because right now they're talking about Warcry, and I don't give a crap about Age of Sigmar, really. So we're here. We're going to be giving you the full commentary, play-by-play of everything that happens in the next hour. I'm Chris. This is Philip. I know things about Warhammer. He doesn't.
I don't know. I know that you actually need tape measures to play the game.
True. So, Philip, what was the first model power armor developed for the Legiones Astartes? Would it be the Mark 1, 2, 3, or 4?
I'm gonna go with the 2. Damn.
There you go.
That was
There you go.
I mean, Mark 1, that was like the easy answer.
The Mark I Thunder armor is what the Space Marine armor is based off of, and it was actually worn by the Thunder Warriors, who were basically like the Emperor's first attempt to make Space Marines when he was first taking over Earth. And it's actually kind of it's kind of fucked up because he like made them to not last very long.
Oh.
So it was just kind of like, oh, hey, help me conquer the Earth. These guys are gonna make me conquer or help me conquer the Earth, and then they're gonna die, and then I'll make new guys.
I'm gonna go with a dragon
The rest of their bubbling holy lake.
at the bottom of the lake. I'm gonna go with a dragon.
I'm gonna go with
No, I'm gonna go with the tooth.
Yeah, the tooth is kind of what I kind of with you on the one of Korn's teeth. Oh, I was tempted to say
Gorka Morka.
Gorka Morka's broken rib. Gorka Morka is the god of the orcs, I believe. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. The Blood Gullet Shamans credit the red waters of the Marrow Spear to Gorka Morka's marrow.
Oh, this was an interesting.
Actually, that makes more sense now that I read that.
Huh.
Which of these Imperial troops do not make use of jump packs? Seraphim, Kara-O-Galander, Inceptor squads, or Elysian drop troops?
I'm gonna go with drop troops.
That seems to be the pot.
Yeah.
Like I know the Seraphim do. And Inceptor's one of those words. They have Inceptor, Infiltrator, Incursor, like all these in. So it's always like I never know.
That's right.
Hey, you know more than you thought.
That's right. Well, I was.
Or they're just horrible at designing questions. So like that can't be right.
Yeah, like I was going for irony.
Yeah.
The drop troops.
I was like, maybe they get dropped in on a drop ship or a drop pod. Drop pods are kind of cool. Where you just like, boom. Like I want a Nerf drop pod.
Pull a Master Chief. Can you make any more noise?
Yeah.
Pick up a rocket launcher. I guess you can.
I'm not even going to try on this one.
I'm gonna go with.
I feel like gluttony. I feel like it's obsession than gluttony.
I'm gonna go with obsession.
Entirely possible.
Obsession by Ralph Lauren.
But like I need a drop pod that's in Nerf foam that's weighted at the bottom so you can like throw it and then it just.
And actually, oh no, you're right. Gluttony.
Not great news for sorcerers on a diet.
Yeah, here he is. Tiberius the Red Wake, aka the biggest fucking space marine.
The biggest fucking space marine in service in the 41st millennium. He's the chapter master of the Carcharodon, also known as the Space Sharks. And if the Carcharodon are sharks, Tiberius is a fucking megalodon. This motherfucker is so big that his Terminator armor needed to be outfitted with dreadnought plate just to house his immense bulk. A space marine with a quiet and imposing disposition, speaking only in a low whisper. During the Badab War,
I wonder if this was prior to being Primaris Marines.
Not thinking much of it until the statue fucking moved.
I'm sure there are large groups of people who are asking, who doesn't know this? These are super basic questions.
Armed with hunger and slay, his custom melee weapons, which are power fists, lightning claws, and chain blades, all folded into one. Despite the space sharks being suspected sons of Corvus Corax, the Ashen Claws chapter believe their gene seed to be chimeric. Some fans even believing it to contain World Eater, Raven and Night Lord gene seed, with the Red Wake embodying the most terrifying traits of all three legions.
So, fun fact, especially when you're sitting there talking about this, is where I just like start slowly. Just Boards and Swords After Dark. So, fun fact. You see how there it's talking about tactical dreadnought armor? When you're talking about that Terminator armor has dreadnought plates. That's what Terminator, the nickname or the full name of Terminator armor is tactical dreadnought. Okay. It was just short, or it was just kind of the slang term became Terminator armor.
The heck is a Trogon?
I know almost nothing about the lore, says Rusted Beetle. Well, you know,
is it like a dog thing?
So is Philip. I don't know what a Trogoth is. You got to remember, I play mostly Imperium, so
Okay.
especially anything that's like, you know,
Sour breath.
mm.
Lurking in ruins beneath shadowy bridges. So this was the troll under the bridge in the Billy Goat Scruff.
Yeah. I'm seeing it twice because the screen over there. So I have to turn that off so I can pay more attention. So, I haven't been paying too much attention, or I've been paying about the average amount of attention to Warhammer releases recently, mainly because we've been busy doing stuff in here. But so this Saturday, the pre-orders for the first 10th edition Codex go up. It's the Tyranids, which is funny because I don't know if they changed it, but in the preview that they showed, it looked like the same cover as 9th edition. Like, man, that's pretty lazy. But I also think it's kind of smart because a lot of the people that would, I mean, not everybody, but a good chunk of the people that would be pre-ordering this are going to be playing Warhammer when the pre-orders go up. So, yeah. I imagine we'll hear... So this is supposed to cover all their games. So, like, Blood Bowl, or at least, like, most of their popular ones, like Blood Bowl, what's it called? Horus Heresy, Warcry. So, what I'm expecting is, A, they're going to show off the Codex for Space Marines, because we know that's going to be the second Codex, of course, being on the cover box and everything. And also Space Marines, they kind of have to be. Then... I'm expecting... We haven't heard anything from Kill Team in a while, mainly because they were getting through all this 10th edition stuff.
Okay.
And they usually do their stuff in seasons with, like, a theme.
Gotcha.
Like, last year was, like, Space Hulk, to where each box set had, like, the terrain of, like, the spaceship walls.
Uh-huh.
And so you could, like, fight in a spaceship kind of thing. So I'm expecting them to talk about, like, what this season is going to be.
Do they ever do anything like remember the back in the day the X-Men action figurines?
Yeah.
Like they all had a piece of Galactus
Oh,
in like 10 different boxes and you bought them all
Yeah.
and you got Galactus. They ever do
Sort
anything
of.
like that?
Sort of. So, at the beginning of this year, they came out with a set of a new gameplay for full-on 40K called Boarding Actions, and 2 Kill Team boxes gave you enough of the spaceship terrain to do a Boarding Actions
Okay.
thing, and each box came with like a different sprue that gave you different pieces of the ship.
Gotcha.
So like one had a lot of like scatter stuff and things, and another ship had like consoles and like a little robot that like servitor guy that moves around. There was another one that it was just like a bunch of different, like, here's a bunch of different chests and stuff. I don't remember what each of the ones was, but there was like a little bit of that.
Okay. I'm
So
gonna go with a hawk.
a hawk, Bretonnian. Oh yeah, I think this is the Old Kingdom. So brief you up on this. So there's the game. So before 40K, there was Warhammer Fantasy Battles. That was the first game or the first Warhammer game that came out, and that was the game. It was kind of like, it was set up in the style like of the Song of Ice and Fire that we played, where it's people in hexes. That's where you would have like the mass trays that people would put like a whole bunch of their stuff in. Yeah. Well, then came 40K, and by the time you got to, like the early 10s, like 2010s, Fantasy Battles not selling that well. So they're like, you know what? Screw this, and they decide they do a massive campaign that's basically Armageddon, the end of Fantasy Battles, blah. The world ends. So then you have Age of Sigmar, where Sigmar is like this big deity guy in the Warhammer universe. He basically like saves a bunch of people from the annihilation and starts his own like little universe type thing, and stuff happens. And so they rebooted it into Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which was a completely different rule set. Like, it's not Trey, it's actually closer to 40K in that style of gameplay. And then it kind of deviated from there. So now, because what? Oh, yeah. So, do you remember the story about the guy that got so mad that he burned all of his Warhammer stuff?
I do remember that.
Yeah,
yes.
this was like 2012 or something like that. So people were angry that people had been playing fantasy battles, and everyone's kind of like, man, I wish they'd bring that back. Well, it turns out they are. They're calling it Warhammer: The Old Kingdom, I believe is what's called. And it's going to be more of like a small sub game. So it won't be...
Welcome to the Warhammer Preview Online. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. It's fantastic for you to be joining us this evening, this morning, wherever it might be. My name's Nick. I'm joined by Eddie, and we're about to show you a whole bunch of really cool things.
Yeah, we are doing this preview today as there is an event happening in the United States right now, which is called the Nova Open, and we've just, for the people in attendance at the Nova Open, done a preview in person. They've got a chance to see some of this
The studio
stuff
set
first.
reminds me of
We've
like
actually got
the
a
same
short
studio set that
video of the
FFG
crowd
did.
at the Nova
Yeah,
Open,
it's just a little different.
Just after they've seen some of the new reveals. So, Raph, you want to play that? We'll see how excited they were to see.
Oh, that's right. So they've already shown all this to the Nova people an hour ago, and now they're showing it to us. Look, this first guy here is like, I don't care. I'm just clapping. I really don't give a shit. He keeps looking back like, can we stop clapping now? Look, he keeps looking around like, guys.
Yeah.
It wasn't that interesting.
We always rely on our event audiences to get super hyped up about new
Especially when we tell them to
Nova
applause.
crowd, no exception. That's great.
Yeah.
We've got some really cool things to show you very shortly. Before we do, we're joined in the chat by Mr. Vincent Notley, who's our moderator. Thank you, Notley.
Are you
for
pulling
joining
up
us
the
this
actual
evening. Raps
Twitch
in the background
chat?
pushing the buttons for us. If you
Is this
can't
on
say
Twitch?
anything to the
Yes,
chat, we'll
this is
have
on
an eye
Twitch.
it. We'll try and answer these things this evening.
Just
if we
downloaded
can,
YouTube.
just to be nice. Should we get onto it?
Yeah, so just in terms of how this is going to work, we have a whole bunch of new Warhammer things to show you. Got loads of
In case
stuff for
you've
loads of
never
different
seen a
settings and
stream
IPs,
before.
lots of different game systems. So there's a little bit of something for everybody. We've got a series of videos. We've got loads of stuff to show you. So I think it should be a pretty exciting evening/morning/late night.
Whatever your hobby, there's something for you, right? Basically.
Before we get stuck in,
Go on.
the thing
Looks like we
always
got a
do
White
on
Scars
these
banner on the
previews
side
is we ask the
and
audience, where are
Ultramarines.
you tuning in from?
Of course.
That's very important. It's most important.
So this
Something
this
Do let us know
con.
in the chat
yeah,
where
that's
you're tuning in from. If you're
something.
staying up late
The
in Europe,
name of
as we
the
are,
the
it's about
Primark
2
for
in the
White
morning
Scars
over
is
here.
Some friends from England in the chat. So
Yeah,
fair
if
play
you're
to you.
tuning in from the United States,
Jahartikon.
somewhere near Nova, maybe you're even at the Nova Open preview and you decided to watch it all again.
and every
welcome
chapter
back.
master is
But do let us know
con.
where you're from.
But you can tell by the
Ireland,
lightning
England,
bolt and the
USA,
white that
all
it's the
over
White
place. Guys,
Scars.
thank you so much for joining us. It's brilliant.
Yeah. We know lots of you have been waiting very patiently in the Twitch chat for a good few minutes now, so we are going to get straight and stuck into the previews, and we'll start off, I think, with something for Space Marines.
Let's do it for the Emperor.
We're about to release the figures we already released in the main box set.
But it'll be an alternate sculpt.
Brand new Space Marine Terminators. We saw the first of these, obviously, in the Leviathan box set earlier this year. Now there's some more on the way. Nick, what do we know about it?
They are fantastic. So they're super tough, super.
Here you
elite
go.
infantry for your
You
army.
already have
Terminators,
these.
famously so. And this is a multi-part box set rather
Oh.
than these sort of single build ones that came in the
Yes.
Leviathan box with loads of options.
So
for you to
different
build however
options.
you want to.
Now you can customize them.
Got,
Isn't that what you
weapon
said?
Options include the Cyclone missile launcher you can see here on the left-hand side.
But now you can.
I just said
customize-
alternate sculpts. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You've also got
Ooh,
lots
that
of
is cool. I like the missile
figs
packs on top.
That is kinda
Kind
cool.
of reminds me of a Mad Cat from BattleTech.
Yeah.
Classic builds for your sergeants as well. So
All the classic kit that
all
you
of it.
expect. There's some,
Yeah.
Chain Fist, I think, is a big one there, so you can start carving through tanks and stuff.
absolutely, man. Yeah, these are great.
Oh yeah,
Some-
that's
some
a chain
really nice,
fist.
alternate head options.
They
as
love
well.
their
I think
chain
that's-
weapons.
It's maybe the
Okay, yeah.
first or we haven't seen many Terminators that kind of half helmet look before, so that's really cool to see. It really fleshes out the options.
It is kind of cool.
these
I will say
same
that.
scale that add in really nicely if you got a Leviathan set earlier this year.
You will buy me.
Got a pretty sizable and scary looking.
Even though you already have enough.
First company forces, like the Battle from a Crag scenario that came out recently, then these are going to be crucial for you to get hold of and to build your forces up.
Yeah.
I need me some of these.
No specific iconography on these for any particular chapter, so they're quite happily to go into any of the kind of Codex chapters, so they can be Black Templars, White Scars, Ultramarines, as you see there. Also make perfectly good Dark Angels or Salamanders or Iron Hands or anything really.
Absolutely, man. Oh, look at this guy as well. New Captain in Terminator armor. Of course, we saw
Yep.
Captain
So again,
Terminator armor in the Leviathan
we had this in the Leviathan box, and this is now the multi-kit part.
Okay.
Because the ones in the Leviathan box were like snap or like easy fit, so it was like you didn't even need glue. They just kind of, which actually kind of
one
sucked.
Of the things, lots of
Because like I like to test fit things, and they were so
Okay. So to like
they were so snug you couldn't like pop it back out to like
you've got
then glue
different
it.
helmeted and unhelmeted heads. You've got the choice of having Stormbolter or combi weapon, so you can personalize this guy and make him your own. You can also see there the kind of robe at the bottom there is optional, so if you want to go for a very kind of noble knightly aesthetic, if it's kind of Dark Angels or Ultramarines or something like that, you can. If you want a more kind of austere Spartan look for your Iron Hands or something, you could just go old-fashioned and not put too much decoration on it.
Of course, if you haven't thought about it before, having a captain leading a force is an absolute crucial for a Space Marine force. This guy's got rights of battle, and you have some free stratagems.
Yeah, but if you're playing Space Marine or if you're playing Ultramarines, you're going to use Gellerman, the Primarch.
So if you put
Okay.
the Terminator unit, those guys are going to get stuck in pretty sharpish.
It's not the only new character on his way, though. So we also have a Terminator Chaplain Terminator armor, and again, this is a multi-build kit, so you've got different options for the helmet, you've also got different options for the Croziers, and you've got different options
The
for
shield is kind of dope.
Yeah, it's really cool to see.
Yeah,
and
I'm
for the
digging
first
that shield,
time,
man.
I think we've seen a chaplain with a huge shield. This is a relic shield, which other characters have
Extremis.
as well, which makes him a lot tougher.
Wait, I didn't know this was Iron Man.
And combine that with his Rosarius makes.
I'm just looking at the detail of the purity seal there,
Clearly he was looking at his
Yeah.
armor,
and
he
I'm
was
like, that
"What I
figure's
need
this
here
tall."
is a place I can put more skulls. So he's not only got a skull helmet, he's also got a shield with another skull on it. If you look at the purity seals, one of them is a skull, and there's even a little skull drawn on the purity seal as well. So this is one of the most skull-intensive Space Marine
It really
models.
is, isn't it? He's even got a
He's
skull
got a
helmet.
lot of skulls.
Yeah. And also, like, shout out to the fact that
It's almost like skulls for the skull throne.
The power of Christ compels you.
He can cut or
Just like-
smash.
Very flexible.
Yeah, you're right. For any situation. Yeah, wonderful miniature, and again, scaled to new Terminators, so it matches really nicely with those guys.
Really exciting if you're looking to kind of build into that first company vibe. The Leviathan box obviously gave a great start for that, but this kind of gives you a whole bunch more options for it. But sometimes Terminators aren't the tool for the job, and you want something a little bit faster. So let's have a look at the next video.
What kind of car you drive? Jetpack, bitch.
All right, I missed what it is. Is it Jetpack Primaris?
Looks like it.
People
yeah.
have been excited for this, especially if you're a Blood Angels player. Other Phil's in our chat. He's probably ejaculating right now.
Dropping in from space to kick some
Which is
face,
funny
we have the
that they
new,
painted them as
Assault Intercessors
Ultramarines.
with
Ultramarines.
jump packs,
Like, you did
and
so
a
much better
new
off painting
captain
these
to
as
lead them. Nick, what do we know about these units?
So, well, first of all, we know they're pretty flyer, right? These guys are awesome. We've got jump packs on Primaris Marines for the first time, which is great to see.
He said funding
We'll look into
finally,
that in some of the Space Marine trailers for the computer games back in the day.
but I
Now
think
we
that's
can see those
fucking
models.
finally supposed to be.
Wonderful new unit, Assault Intercessors with jump packs.
I've never
in.
understood the obsession with skulls.
Super
Why does
fast,
every
they can
model
move
need
to combat
15
as fast as
skulls?
expect. They've got 12
Because how do you know if it's grimdark if there's no skulls?
As soon as possible. The sergeant has lots of different builds.
Oh yeah, somebody in the Twitch chat. Every jump pack marine happens to be flying beside a tiny rock.
So yeah, super customizable.
Yes, can confirm.
Instead of having to have your guys inside.
There you
Transport
go.
them into combat, they can just fly across the battlefield.
Oh yeah, and
Worth saying as well, obviously,
Raven
this
Guard.
unit
There you
picks
go.
up red very nicely. So if you have a Blood Angel army, this is going to be almost a given that you're going to want to have at least one or
See?
two squads of these in your force.
then why didn't you just paint
Also,
them as?
Raven Guard make extensive use of jump pack troops as
Yeah.
well, so you can use them. I think that's the Power Fist in there as well, so there's an option for that. Loads of different options for your Sergeant.
I
and the
think
Hand
that's a
Flamer, as
Power
we talked
Fist,
about there, is
bro.
on there.
This is your
That's cool
company.
too.
You should
Right.
know.
Dynamic, cool models. They look heavy at the same time. as
Skulls for the
fast.
Skull
You can
Throne.
sort of
Duh.
imagine the mess these guys are going to make when they land in the
Like,
middle
I'm
of
not
a
saying he's
kind
the
of Chaos
CEO, but I'm
Cultist
like,
blob or a
these
mob
are
of
your
Teasing
products. You
Cultist
shouldn't be
or something.
saying,
You
I
do not
think.
want to be under one of these when it lands,
It's
basically.
just great to see them back in.
It's, engineering versus marketing.
Yeah.
Sort of archetype in the primary sort of force.
No, it's the fact that someone was like, "Here is the deck of stuff we're presenting. Have
And
fun."
you know what? If they're led by the captain,
But what do I need? It's fine. Just show them the pictures. They'll be fine.
Even better, 'cause of course in 40K, attached units
That,
now, and this
that,
beautiful miniature of the captain. He's
The
got his cloak in
Star
full
Wars
flow,
tournament
which
we
is
did,
fine.
the X-Men
Yeah.
tournament we did.
It's quite
Like,
a
yeah,
short tactical cloak, isn't it? So
Fantasy
he's not
Flight
gone
called
for
me
like
like 20
a great,
minutes
huge
ago.
flying because that's probably not hugely practical when you've got a jet engine strapped to your back.
Right.
So again, this is a captain miniature with loads of options. So you can see a couple of options there already. We've got
Oh, there
the
we go.
chainsword
I just
and
slide
power
up, and then
sword,
the
relic
chat is
sword,
now-
Sorry, but you've also
That's
got an
actually
option in there
more
for a power
intuitive.
fist, and you've got an option for a hand flamer.
Oh, there
so
you go,
can kind
Phil.
of Lean into whatever
Other
build,
Phil.
But it
either
looks
for
pretty
tactical
badass,
purposes
dude.
Ball
or
over
because
there.
it suits your particular style of play. So if you've got a Salamander army, you're probably going to want to give him the hand flamer. If you've got like an Imperial Fist, you might want to give him the Great Enormous.
Oh
Power
yeah,
Fist, right?
salamanders. When your
A couple
favorite
of
thing
head
is to
options in there as
say,
well. Again,
burn it,
Captain
burn it
loads
with
of
fire.
options to make it
If it
your own,
moves,
which is
burn it
excellent
again.
Space Marine fantasy.
My wallet just scraped at me.
It really is. And if you've got an assault intercessor squad in your force, have him leading.
No, they got to do the Fahrenheit 451. Burn it to ashes and burn the ashes.
Yeah. It's funny. There was a. So I've been occasionally looking at the Meta Monday that there's on the Warhammer competitive Reddit where they post like results for every tournament everywhere, like the top 5. A couple weeks ago, there was a Space Marine army that got top 5, and it was like 5th place in a
But
tournament.
that's not it. There's even more Space Marine stuff on the way.
But it
so
was
let's
like
have a look at
all
the
hero
next tier.
characters, like all captains.
Okay.
This is just the Stern Guard veterans, I bet, which also came in the Leviathan box. So yeah, the ultra or the hero
Another
hammer list
new
that I talk about.
multi-part Space Marine unit. This time it's the Stern Guard. These are the
yeah.
elite Space Marines of
But
the
like
first
it was like
company. Nick, tell us
3
about
captains in
this.
Terminator armor, 3 like every captain there was was like 3 of them.
Back, which is great. We've got an older,
You're very excited
very
about the
excited
back
about
banner
that.
when
I
you saw
really
this
am.
kit.
We've got older marks of armor in there. You can spot some marks.
Yeah, I'm still painting mine.
These guys are veterans. Have been around for a long time. They carry the chapter's best guns, including a brand new weapon on the right-hand side, the Pyre Cannon, which is like the
Ooh.
souped-up version of the guns that the Infernus Marines carry. So this thing is the biggest, most
Yeah, that
fighting
thing, that gun is
weapon
like
we've got, even bigger than
half his size.
Yeah, man.
Like it's like his whole chest. Like that gun did not skip chest day.
Interchangeable bolt rifles, combi weapons. His sergeant's got different options he can have as well. You can have a chainsaw, power fist, or power weapon. Just suit them up, kit them out the way you want, and send them into battle. These guys are great.
This is a great kit for people who want loads of Space Marine bits as well to kind of maybe mix with other kits because you've got loads of different helmet options in there.
This is a great kit if you just want to buy parts.
Whole squad can have rifles, the whole squad can have combi weapons.
Hey, I need you to
Heavy bolter,
fill
I
like
think I'm right in saying,
2
in this
more
kit as well.
minutes. So before we show the next
you
thing.
really can make these guys your own. And when you do
Oh, I
build
wonder
this
if
kit, you'll
that
have
could
lots
be
of spare
a-
bits to kind of
what?
sprinkle through the rest of your Space Marine
so,
army.
like,
Complete bits box as well.
there
Yeah,
are-
loads of extra bits.
Back banner
There are
anyway.
websites where you
Oh yeah,
can
you can buy
buy
single bits.
Yeah, it's really
I
great
was
to see.
thinking
It's
you can
like-
do that with
it's
Warhammer because I was
Yep.
thinking Lego.
Yep.
Oh, great.
There's a thing that's like, and it's even numbered like Sprue B Part 52.
I need 12 of this exact helmet. Okay.
So they'll buy kits like this and just disassemble all of them to sell them as parts.
It's really cool to see. There we go. Stern Guard veterans, man.
But again, but not the only.
It sounded
new,
like he said STEM Guard veterans.
elite
Like these guys are
Space Marines
great
are
at
on the
math
way
and
with-
science.
There's more. There's
Can't
more.
believe
Nick.
it. What else we got?
Let's have a look.
Let's see, what have we not done? The Infernus? Oh, this is new. Ooh. I like the hand there.
Yeah.
The iron hand. When your gun needs a shield.
But that thing, it looked like it had bullets and fuel going into it.
Kip Ashley's with the jump
So this
intercessors
is
to
the
make
return
Vanguard
of,
bets.
A kind of classic archetype Space Marine unit, the Command Squad. So
Ah.
we've
Company
we've seen Command Squads
heroes.
before, but we've not kind of seen them coalesce together, maybe under the kind of Primaris.
Oh, I see what you mean.
aesthetic.
The
Tell us about
Yeah,
this
it's got
one.
the two.
The
Squad's
two.
always been sort of a collection of guys all brought together, but this is actually
maybe that's just the
bespoke
belt
squad.
feeding the bullets.
First and foremost, Eddie, some of the
And then
nicest
the
Space
energy
Marine
pack
miniatures
to
we've ever
run
made.
it.
I think that
Or
ancient
that.
for me is just beautiful. Some of the coolest veterans, all to accompany your heroes into battle. These guys are basically a squad of 4 that will accompany either a captain or a chapter master into battle. Their box actually comes with the captain you see there.
See,
You
this
can
is
tell they're
this
very
is something I would use for
well
bits,
below
like having the
as well,
arms, the
and the whole
guns.
squad is there
Yeah.
to
That's
guard
kinda
your
cool.
hero, keep them alive in battle a lot longer, and to buff everyone around them and be absolute boss in combat and shooting as well. They're
Or
a
yeah,
really
just
cool
like to
little
sub
unit,
in your
and for me, really,
captain with one of
really
these
nice
guys
as
instead.
well. I think
Yeah.
it's
Or like
great.
the sergeant
I
of an
think
army,
these
just
really
put
are
in
like
one
a
of
big
these
intrigue.
instead.
Some really nice
That's what I would do
individual,
that for
models
if I
in
were
there.
to
So
get
the
something
company
like this.
is obviously he's gonna. Is just a really
Although
nice
that
kind of
gun is
character,
really
great for
cool.
taking
I
on
don't know
enemy
why
heroes.
it's like
You've got
that, but it's really
banner as
cool.
well, which gives you a nice kind of centerpiece for the army. You've also got a Space Marine that looks a bit battered and missing an arm. We haven't seen a huge amount of bionics up to this point on Primaris Marines. But again, the captain is probably the star of the show because he's, again, really flexible kit. You can build it in lots of different ways. So coming
On
straight
his
out of this
tactical
release,
rock.
you can kind of choose
No
whatever
capes.
captain
That's
you
what
want
they
for each
that's what the
Space Marine force.
the slang
Jump
term
captain,
is, just for like
Terminator
anytime
armor,
there's
you can have
rocks
it
on the thing.
captain
It's like, oh,
armor.
they're standing on tactical
Within
rocks.
that choice, you can still choose loads of different options. So
I don't know if
it's
that's a
great
local
time
thing, or
slot
just
for Space
we're
Marines to
we're
kind
talking
of
about it.
Lean into whatever you want.
So you got
Yeah,
Dark
absolutely.
Angels up there.
Yeah, good shout. Look at them top right there with his pointy power fist and his plasma pistol.
You
It's all from the same
will
kit,
buy
so
me.
you've got lots of different ways you can approach building that Space Marine captain.
Wonderful stuff. It's really nice to see sort of. hero
Also,
models
you
back
said
lots
no
of models
capes.
as well.
Uh-huh.
You can
Capes
ask
are so
for
terrible to
models.
paint.
It's great to see customizable heroes like this again. From
That one I painted at
Very cool. All
yeah.
right.
So at the
Simon
other end
Expo?
of the
Expo?
experience
I
spectrum for
realized
Space
I-
Marines, you've
Yes, of
got,
course.
I
those
painted
plucky young
inside as
recruits
outside,
who are on maybe
as I
their
was going
first
around.
mission with the chapter. Let's have a look at our next video.
Sniper squad, tactical squad.
Everyone's
maybe?
got a rebreather unit on.
Yeah, I see that. It's like whatever a poison unit is. This is your chem bio group. These are scouts almost.
So
'Cause they didn't have-
the 10th company of the Space Marines are going out for their training day.
Scout squad, I was
Scout
right.
squad.
So we've seen.
Yeah, 'cause
this
they're not
archetype
even wearing
before
full
in
armor.
Black Temple
Yeah, they've
squads.
just got, like-
It's they call it carapace armor.
Neophytes.
Neophytes, thank you.
Yeah.
But now we see sort of Codex chapters get access to scouts as well with the new models. They're just absolutely beautiful. Of course, a very classic unit for the Space Marines. Scouts have been around pretty much as long as Space Marines have been in Warhammer 40,000. You can take squads of these in 5 to 10. Lots of different weapon options in the box. They can all have
Like,
shotguns,
are these
bolters, or
Primaris
rockets,
scouts,
combat knives.
though?
There's also options.
You
in the
didn't
box
say
for
that.
bolters
Bro,
and a
chill
missile launcher as
out.
well, which
What?
is super cool.
Someone in the
Yeah,
Twitch
these
chat,
guys are
where my
super
Necrons
stealthy
at?
in the box. They move around the
They
battlefield,
said they were
disappear
starting with
in
Space
warfare,
Marines.
Yeah.
and they can
Oh,
just
look at that
switch
giant
between
gun.
rocket launcher.
walking around and screens of
smoke
smoke. That's
Launcher.
great. Yeah, really cool.
Loucha.
Yeah, you've got some options for the sergeant in there as well. So he's obviously
Look at- is that a
fully
grapple
fledged
gun?
Space Marine, but choosing
It
to
looks
wear
like it,
scouts
yeah.
to lead them to battle. You've also got a sniper rifle in there as well. So
Yes.
you've got
When your gun needs feet.
lots of tools to the trades basically. So your kind of will be devastator Marines can try out some of the heavy weapons.
They can try exactly. They can.
Black
get
Templars
any
players would
characters
like
with the
this 'cause they
sniper
have
rifle, take out,
a Templar-
long-range targets. They're really
what's
good at
it
sneaking
called?
around and taking objectives, especially
Crusader
the
squad,
tactics rule,
and
which
it's so
is
hard to
sneak
fully
up and
fill
enable
those
to,
out because I have these
they're
neophytes
really
that you
cool
can't
in an army and
sub in with
still
anything, which you can now with
Yeah, I love
these
that grapple
Okay.
launcher top right, it's so cool.
because they're
The whole box
scouts
is
or
a
they're
great box.
neophytes, which are guys that
yeah,
are
they're
still
also,
they're not
you know,
quite
And again,
Space
it's gonna
Marines
come
yet.
with loads of different options because you can kit the squad out.
They're
kind of
only
in
6.5
bolter
feet
direction,
tall,
in
not
bolt
8
pistol
feet tall.
direction,
Yeah,
bolt
exactly.
direction, so you're gonna have all those other bits left to play with for lots of different.
I always used to have like 4 guys with bolt.
That guy
rifles
looks
and
like his junk's been a little cinched up there. The second from the left.
because they're still.
Like, guys, I'm
most
really
Space Marines
chafing here.
in
Everybody
combat,
bring the
so
gold
they
bond.
fight.
Well, they're still better than most people's other basic troops,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So,
I can't stop looking at it. It
Okay,
looks like it's a
new scouts
fist,
on
like
the way
just
very
grabbing
soon.
his crotch.
There's so much to get painted now for Space
it's a
Marines.
lot of Space Marines.
So much Space Marines.
Got
to
enough blue paint, Nick?
get. Plenty, but also note to say that all of the models we've just shown you can be used for any of the chapters out there. Not just blue paint, although blue paint, in my opinion, is the best. If you're Dark Angel fans, Blood Angel fans, all for you as well.
You can't use them for Grey Knights. Although those aren't technically Space Marines. They are, but they aren't.
Space Wolf Army as well, and your Death Watch forces. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to use those models as well.
Yeah. All right, let's just have a quick roundup of all those Space Marines that we've just seen then, and then we'll tell you a little bit about the Codex.
Planet Ogrim was ruthlessly devoured, but the war did not end there.
'Cause I'm still standing better than I have.
When you almost feel like, man, if only they would just put out a box that just had all this. And you're like, wait, they did, minus a few.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da.
So that's all of the new Space Marine models that are on their way. They are, of course, featuring in a brand new codex for the Space Marines, which will be the second codex for the new edition of Warhammer 40,000.
Is that the same codex cover as the other edition?
Weekend. Nick, what do we know about this new Space
So
Marine codex?
exciting. Every time we see a Space Marine Codex, there's always new exciting things to talk about. The big one here, of course, is that there are more detachments on the way. We've seen detachments already for the new Tyranids that came around before, but the Space Marines are going to get new ones as well. Of course, there's the Gladius Task Force, which we know and love from the index cards. That's in there as well. But also, there's a whole bunch of new detachments that lets you focus your army in the way you want to. Now, previously we would have had stuff like rules for Iron Hands or rules for Salamanders or White Scars.
Boo.
But rather than having chapter-specific rules now, we've actually gone for the detachments, which sort of hint heavily towards one of those chapters, but don't say you have to use them. So, for example, we've got one detachment that's all about using tech marines and vehicles, another one that's about close-quarter shooting, another one that's all about using fast vehicles to get forward.
I was hoping they would make them
or
chapter-specific.
Sneaking around in the background with sort of your vanguard.
Well, it better be.
So you
It
can
better be a really
customize
thick
your army any way
codex.
you like. So you can have sort of an army of Ultramarines bikes with the rules for an army of bikes, but they don't have to be White Scars, if it makes sense.
So
which
you
is really
don't
cool.
quite feel bad for having the wrong
Yeah.
colour on the battlefield or by hamstringing yourself into using
I get
the
that,
wrong,
but then it just feels like, what's the point of chapters?
rules, I guess, for your army. So certainly if you do have an army like White Scars or Salamanders or Iron Hands that already lent into the theme, there is a detachment for you.
100%.
But equally, if you're like, you know what, I really like red Space Marines, but I also really like
Flamers.
tanks
Yeah.
or flamers
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something, you can absolutely kind of lean in that direction.
But
and
see,
make,
like,
you know,
nobody was going to
Which is
get
really
you
nice
for doing
about
that
the little tweaks
anyways.
change here. You can build your army any way you like, which leans, of course, into how many different options there are. And just look at that picture. You can build your army any way you like.
Except like that one super hardcore guy.
Yeah,
There's
that
gonna
guy.
be one of the detachments.
That guy.
My favourite one's going to be the First Company Task Force, Eddie. All about the veterans and the Terminators coming down, which you can also see the new Terminators and the new Stern Guard are perfect for, and they're all in there. Every detachment has its own stratagems and enhancements as well, just like the Tyranid book does, which leans into the style of warfare that you're going for. So yeah, it's super exciting, and it's just round the corner as well.
Yeah, coming in the next few weeks. Not too long at all to wait for that one.
Can't wait to play some games with that.
Right, so we've had a little bit of Warhammer 40,000. We're gonna jump now to the Mortal Realms and have a look at something exciting.
All right, so we
that's
can
coming over the horizon.
we can talk about stuff. Is that?
Okay. Wait, that is.
They're just
The hell is that?
Sigmar.
Oh, okay.
That's where they're going next. No, Trogos.
Oh, hey, we'll find out what they. It's a thing.
It looks like an ent that's been like
Oh,
corrupted.
and his lumbering court. Okay, so maybe it's a.
I mean, they're just. It's like a troll and an ent put together.
Yeah, because like there's where are they? There's something riding in his antlers.
Trug's great. Trog herd.
Eddie,
Say that
what's
5
We've
times
discovered
fast.
a brand new monster in the realm. Actually, it's Trug the Troggoth King, a huge monster for the Gloomspite Gits.
Yeah, so this is an incredible miniature. I think a contender probably for miniature of the year for me. This is the largest Troggoth we have yet seen. He
All
has
the
been
Space
dubbed
Marines are
King
sad
of the
now.
Troggoths.
We're not
This
miniature
is
of
an
the
ancient
year.
being who has slept for centuries. And he slept for so long, in fact, that an ancient civilization has even.
I would say this about Age of
temples and
Sigmar.
things.
You
On
definitely
fact,
see
he
a
didn't even
variety in
notice
the
it,
types
didn't
of
wake him up.
color
But the recent
palettes.
tumultuous
Yeah, yeah.
events
It's not
of the
just like
realms have kind of
grim
shaken
dark.
him
It's
from
everything's
his,
black and
centuries-long slumber,
you know,
and basically
other
that
shades shades of
huge
black
engine on his
and
back gives him a headache whenever he goes near.
the
Anything
Age of Sigmar,
magical,
you get
so
like
he's
bright
basically
colors.
wandering along the magical ley lines of the mortal realms, trying to smash all the magical things he can find so that he can get back to sleep.
That's an
It's
interesting.
brilliant. It's such a great character miniature as well. It's got that really sort of over the top sort of character of the
Somebody's got
Troggos
plumber's
from
butt.
Age of Sigmar, but with the extra added bits on top, and also how big he is as well. I've just fought some games with him recently, and he's monstrous. The big old lace down on his back as well. He doesn't like it.
So,
but, you know,
so you
he's whacking
outfit
with
like
his
a
big
little
club, and it
a
has
little
various
gas
magical
thing right
effects
in his
throughout the
butt, so you
game.
can hit a button. It
He
just.
doesn't know how it works. He just keeps hitting it, and something magical happens.
I'm sorry.
It's just
So
great.
here's
12.
here's my They
Loads
called
of
that the
absolutely
lay
stunning
stone that
details
got
on
built
this guy.
over
So
top
you've
of him.
got kind of bits of
Um,
relic and artifacts from a
put
lost
that
civilization that probably no
into
one alive in the mortal realms is even
Stargate
aware of
perspective.
the language of. You can see the kind of bits of old.
That'd be pretty big.
And then
magical,
like imagine how big he is.
leavings and
Yeah,
offerings
he's
sort
got a
of sticking
Stargate
around
on his
him.
back.
You could imagine him like
Yeah,
underneath
I mean,
a hill or a mound.
I would
somewhere
imagine
with
that more like
civilization blissfully unaware
the
that
size of
their
the
time culture was
Orland
built on
Stargate
literally
when he
on the
built the
back
one
of a
out of the toaster.
Loads of other little lovely features. So there's a tiny little
Also, I used your
troglings kind
credit
of
card.
wandering around
Huh?
on
Also,
there
I
as
used your
well.
credit
There's
card.
Skulls and
Sorry.
things. There's actually some cave paintings on his belly and on his legs. So you can almost imagine maybe they didn't even know that they were drawing on
That's
the side
amazing.
of
I
a
love
troll.
those.
So these kind of primitive cultures would have been writing things on him, thinking, that this is our hunting plan, sort of thing.
What a great painting project's going to be. It's discovering new details every time you
Yeah,
put your brush
it's
up.
really cool. He's got these enormous.
What a
great
great
horns as
painting
well, so
job.
he's
Someone's
been
gonna be like,
asleep
God, this
in,
sucks so
the realm of
much.
Skyrim, in the realm of life, and the kind of life energy is infused in while he's been sleeping, and you can see that manifesting through these great big horns and through the tendrils and things that are kind of creeping around the obelisk on his back.
It's such a cool model. And yeah, you're right, chat.
By the way, I'm submitting a guy into the Capital Palette painting competition. I'm gonna put my
the new Dawnbringers
Lord Hellbrick.
as well, which is
Alright,
we'll talk
yeah.
about, in a bit. But he's on his way, lumbering over the hill with his army of Troggoths, and he's terrifying.
Maybe one day I'll finish up my Illidan conversion of Magnus.
There, which means like other Troggoths, he can regenerate wounds as he goes along. But he's obviously, thanks to being asleep in the realm of Garen, imbued with life, so he regenerates even more than others do. So it's really tough to kill him. So he's a perfect model to lead your Gloomspite Gitz force.
Yeah, well, we're talking a little bit there about the new Dawnbringers book. Let's jump to that now, actually, and watch.
Just in case you forgot, this is Warhammer.
Like at the beginning of every single video.
Well, you know why that is, right? Because each one of these is going to be like
On YouTube
on
on its
YouTube
own,
as
yeah.
as a TikTok thing. Rise up! Every time I see Trogoths, I think of Shogoth? That's one of the Lovecraftian gods.
Okay, yep. I'm with you. Whoa. Are those their versions of Titans?
I guess. Leads his stomp.
So the Dawnbringers Crusades continue, Eddie. Part 2, The Reign of the Brutes. What do we know about this book?
Well, the Brute refers to Trog, the Troggoth King, as the model we just previewed. But yes, this continues the story of the Dawnbringers Crusades, specifically 2 great crusades heading out of Hammerhall, one into the realm of fire, one into the realm of life. And in this particular book, they bump into destruction. They literally bump into the forces of destruction. So there is a very heavy presence from Trogs. There's lots of Gargants who are trying to get in the way, and there are Uruks as well that are kind of attacking these crusades from all sides. So Sigmar's great hope of recolonization of the realms is bumping into the current inhabitants, which aren't too pleased to see them.
Giant monsters, man.
So loads of great lore, loads of great stories, and kind of continues the narrative of Age of Sigmar. Gives you loads of Path to Glory rules to recreate those battles and for you to fight your own Dawnbringer Crusades. There's lots of specific stuff for destruction as well. So we've talked a bit about it already, hinted at some of the rules around Troggoths. There is a Troggoth army of renown in this book, which basically lets you do an entire Trog-leaning army, mostly to be led by...
So I'm assuming, I know nothing about Age of Sigmar, Sigmar, but I'm assuming this is a
specifically for the
campaign book instead of like a
horde that
codex
is following
type
around in
thing.
Midway.
That would be.
And it's
and also, of course,
got
you saw in the video there,
detachments
lots of,
in it when it says like Army of Renown.
It's
It's like, oh, this is a new way that you can have your shit.
Yeah, there are people in the chat and just, big pig, big pig, big pig.
Great.
It is, in fact, let's have a look at some more of the new Iron Jaws now.
Let's do it now.
So are they orcs in Age of Sigmar? They're not orcs. They're orcs.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like. I don't. Why would you make that different? Why not just call them orcs?
Maybe it's. So like, obviously 40.
I'll have a scrap.
Hey, there you go.
Wow, it's time for the Iron Jaws to make a big appearance.
I'd have a
back
scrap.
in Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
Dope, you have
We've had
scrap?
some great models
I'd have a
before in the
scrap.
past. We've seen some more models recently, but this
They're Canadian. I just want the
There are lots
orcs
of
now to
orcs
just be
on their way for
Canadian.
sure. So,
Oh,
let's
I'd
start
have a
off with
scrap.
this guy. So we saw
boys,
Glonk at
let's
the
have a
start of the
scrap.
week. I think already a hit with fans
absolutely,
everywhere.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah,
what
they
is not
showed
to
off
love?
Glonk,
It's a squig
which is
dwarf
the
with
little
amber with
squig.
fabulous hair. He comes with a new Oryx special character, Zogrok Anvil Smasher.
Oh yeah, he comes with that
He's
guy, not
basically
that guy
an
comes with
Oryx
him.
smith.
Yeah.
So this
'Cause you're
is,
buying it for that
one
little
of the
guy.
Oryx who has a skill beyond just hitting people really hard.
Look, he's got like a
This guy
flaming
can hit
rock
metal
sword.
really hard and
That's
make
awesome.
it into great weapons.
He also has a
is
tactical
a
rock.
named character for Age of Sigmar. So a
Ah,
brand new
that
named
looks
Iron
like a
Jaw, which is
tactical
Well, it's a shield.
Shield.
and he
Yeah.
is a smith. He has a couple of options in game, so you can either kit him out with a ward smashing weapon, or you can kit him out with stuff to help him buff nearby Oryx units.
I love like
So
the
a really
presenter mode
useful
where it's like,
model.
what is
Haven't
over
really seen
there?
before for Iron Jaws in terms of like a buffing character.
It looks like a pig.
And also like a really great model to paint.
That-
and of
that's
course,
cool.
He comes in.
Oh, you're talking about the little
Glonk.
chop?
Yeah,
I
the
do
hand-
argue
yeah.
that he comes free.
It looks like
Well, you can
Dad's
certainly look at it
grilling
that
on
way
the
if you want
barbecue,
to.
and he's got his
But
special
yeah, a
grilling
really fun
tongs.
model, a great kind of addition to your Iron Jaws force.
Yeah, he's really cool. He has the ability as well to hit opponents so hard with his ward smashing chopper that he can literally switch off enemies' ward saves for the rest of the battle, which is amazing. He literally smashes their ward saves, which is really cool in game. I think
Anvil
can't think of many,
Smasher.
rules in the game that do that. He's a nice, unique option for your rule army.
It's very cool. He's not alone. We've also got Brute Rages. So Auric culture.
Tell you what, though,
is
those
all
guys
about
are really
bunch,
easy to
right?
paint.
So Auric's basically stomp
Yeah.
around
Especially the green
Auric
skin,
camps,
do
both
some
in the,
contrast paint, and then
arm
some
wrestle
highlights on
gargants
top.
or,
Boom, done.
Headbutt a mountain or something like that. And sometimes they'll
'Cause
get called on
I
those
have
boats
orcs for-
and not be able to live up to it.
for Blood
And the
Bowl,
shame
and that's
of
how I
that-
did it.
The shame of that drives these
Oh,
Auric
that's how this guy
brutes,
is.
To become brute rages. What they do
'Cause
is
there's
they
an orc down here at the
scar
bottom
their
that he's,
armor,
like, stabbing
and they
through the
take up
heart.
great two-handed weapons, and they go charging off into the middle of the enemy army like berserkers to prove that they are absolutely the hardest orcs around, and nobody could ever accuse them of being cowardly or not living up to their brags. So these are kind of almost shamed but for over bragging.
It would take a brave soldier to challenge an Auric on his bragging, wouldn't it? But these models are fantastic. First seen in the Warhammer Underworld's Warband a little while ago.
When your sword is so big, he
Now
needs
a whole
like
unit
an
of
extra
them is
handle.
Second hit,
well
yeah,
made.
man.
Actually, it reminds me
You
of
can take lots of
the
different
what's the
weapon
Klingon
options.
weapon?
They can take chain
Batleth.
smashers,
Batleth.
ball hackers, or brute crushers.
It's like half
all
a
of which are
Batleth.
devastating in combat. And these guys are berserk. They can run and charge in the same turn, which makes them super good in the game. So get them involved. Just insert them into the enemy army as soon as possible and see what they can do about it. Yeah, they are pretty hard, guys. Yep, absolutely.
This is a dual kit as well, so you can also build these guys as weird brute wreckers.
Those guys are hard.
So, weird brute wreckers are orcs who channel an unusual amount.
Guys,
of
I can't
energy.
see!
It gives them like a bit of a green headache and some.
Guys, you forgot to drill out the holes on my helmet.
Just go with it.
basically. And the Auric solution to this is to kind of embrace it and hammer
Okay,
them,
but if I hit one of
max
y'all,
onto
it's
the
not my
Auric,
fault.
and let them run off towards the enemy with these great ball and chains and swing into the middle of the enemy force.
Yeah, imagine them to be like, remember Night Goblin Fanatics? You know, the Grot Fanatics?
Yeah, yeah.
They're like that, but super huge and big versions of them. They just run into the enemy force.
Just in
and
case
And then
Night
this
Goblin
guy's over
Fanatics
here
look
like,
scary.
guys, I think we should probably have
They're
washed
actually
these
enormous
before we
great
wore
Auric
them.
races that swing in a ball and chain. So again, a kind of line breaker unit basically that's going to go into the middle of the enemy army and just make an absolute mess. These are particularly good for kind of smashing through hordes of enemy infantry.
Yeah, absolutely. They get so many attacks, and if you roll well, even more as well. But But look at these, Eddie. The new workings of the Auric Ard boys, the new sort of models for the Iron Jaws, and they're just beautiful.
Yeah, so this is a really, really lovely kit. So I think even though Auric Ard
You realize
boys
it's only
are
been 30
arguably
minutes?
like the basic
That's
units
crazy.
in
Yeah.
the Iron Jaws army, this is like
And
a
they're already,
showstopper
I mean,
kit.
we're getting to
These are
the
really,
end of
really
their
cool.
2 biggest games.
Previously, the Auric Ard boys used the old Black Orc models from Warhammer Fantasy.
Are those supposed to
This
be
is a
Goblin
huge blow-up for
fanatics?
that kit. They've much more character, much more dynamism in these models.
No, I think these are orcs,
really
pretty
kind of
much. Or just
rugged,
like,
angry-looking shields. Even the kind of shields are kind of weapons. More options than they used to have. So you've got some spear options.
It's like
in there.
orc
You've got
gladiators.
The champion. You can kit them out in different ways, and they can give you some options basically for your Iron Jaws battle line.
I think the fact that they've just been brought into line with how the Auric Brutes and the rest of the range look as well, that whole aesthetic of these are absolutely beautiful, while still keeping some of the callbacks. Raph was talking about how they look a little bit like the Blood Bowl Black Orcs and the old Black Orc miniatures, especially with the helmets.
they do,
Got
yeah.
a few of those callbacks in there, but with the new Orc aesthetic, which is just
They've got a kind of
gorgeous.
Like piggy
The
helmet,
black-
haven't
They have.
I
You
think so.
actually, yeah,
Mm.
think
the
about it.
tusks.
I don't know if the
And
Black
also
Orc,
they've
the
got
Black
a lot
Orc ones are the
better
ones I
in the game as
have.
well. To match the new miniatures, you can imagine they're just harder and so much more tough to kill as
Harder,
well.
better,
so,
faster,
yeah, these guys are
stronger.
great.
They're now sitting on a 3-up save basic, which is pretty tasty in Age of Sigmar. That's quite hard.
See, I'm
to
wondering
get. And those spears as well. can
what
give you
millennium
benefits
does
against
Age of Sigmar
charging
take place
enemies,
in?
which is pretty cool. So
like-
at the moment, most of your Iron Jaws, quite right.
'Cause, I mean, 40K is the 41st millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As fast as they can and trying to make a mess. But sometimes you do actually need to hold your.
I
own.
think they've also
So it's
separated. It
quite
used to
useful
be
have a
that like
unit that's
Warhammer
both hard
was
to kill
like
and
It
very
all
good at
was the
taking
same
a charge.
timeline.
Yeah.
These are
But I
absolutely
think when they
useful
killed
units in an Iron Jaws.
fantasy, it's supposed to be like this is a different universe now.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Well, there we go.
yeah.
And also, Eddie, the Iron Jaws Battle Tome supplement.
Oh, the previous orcs with the ball and
there is
chain
a
weapons.
supplement for
Oh,
Battletome.
oops, Aurochs, I mean.
This is going to be a free PDF. So all of those new units that we've shown off today, including the new pigs that we saw previously,
Well, that's good.
and the new Iron Jaws Big Boss that we saw on. The
They're not going to
community
make you
site.
pay for another
all of
book
those
for
will
new
have,
minis that they just came out
available
with.
in the
Oh,
new
yeah.
supplement
That's a
and the new
first.
Warhammer Age of Sigmar app, so you can download them for free and add them into your existing Iron Jaws or Big War Army, basically.
Oh,
so
cool.
so cool. There we go. What a wonderful addition to the range. Right, Eddie, what's up next? What are we looking at now?
We have. Where are we?
oh,
Where are we? Oh.
More pigs?
Let's watch the video and see what.
Let's watch the video and find out. Here we go.
Heresy, heresy,
There you go.
heresy, heresy. Look like Alva Legion?
I think I have an antenna on top of his head.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Like Roman Centurions.
Well, they do. On Mark IIIs, I'm assuming these are. But see, like that guy's got like a Vox repeater thing.
Yeah.
Those are Sons of Horus, my bad. So that is Harris's Legion.
Gotcha.
Or Horus. I said Harris. I combined heresy and Horus together. But yeah, Horus is
A new multi-part iron armor kit for the Horus Heresy.
Mark IIIs. I was
What do we
right.
know about this new unit?
Well, that is so they are an all-round box to be used throughout your Horus Heresy forces. We've got the Mark III Tactical Squad here, and of course interchangeable with all of the kits we already got as well. So we've got the special weapons and the heavy weapons we already have. You can use on these guys as
So
well.
that's one of the cool things about Heresy, because it's really
Yeah,
all
and
about the
that's key
lore.
thing about this
Like
unit.
they don't
Obviously, we
have like a
seen,
Mark
iron
III
armored units before for Horus
profile.
Heresy. These
Okay.
ones
They just have
are,
like
very
a
much in
tactical
scale with
squad,
the new-
and it's like,
the
oh,
newer
I want
beaky
Mark
models that we
6s
saw,
over here, and I want some Mark
more
3s, or maybe I like the
recently.
Mark
But
3
key
armor
thing
better
with
than the
this
Mark
unit is
6.
that all of the
Or be like, well, the Mark 6 armor didn't come out till the end of Horus Heresy, so
It's a
I want the
tactical
Mark
squad,
3
but
armor.
You can very, very easily add in other weapons and other kits
Also,
to make it,
Those
do lots of different things for you. You can get
banner.
banners
I hate
and
banners on
black
They love
outfits
putting
and
banners on
all
their
the different
armies.
things you want to do
Yeah.
with it.
I hate
And
it.
obviously,
They
there's
break.
a few
It's just
options
asking to be
already.
broken
You've got
off.
kind of power
You know how
fists
many of those have had to repair?
things for sergeants,
Too
as
many.
well as kind of vox casters and banners.
And people are
all the
like,
stuff
oh,
that
you
you'd
pin
hope
it,
to
you put
have
like a little
in
piece of
a
metal in
Legion.
there, and I've still had that break.
Like the back
Oh.
banner corner.
Like the
You like
friggin',
the back banner?
I'm having to be
It's
careful with this guy because that
It's really
skull
nice to
piece
see
up there
different,
has broken
versions
several
of,
times. It's
the
just
armor as well.
like
So for
gently
some
placed in
legions
there and
particular,
glued.
We're quite used to having this armor. So the Iron Warriors on the left-hand side, famous for having lots of Mark III around, and they look fantastic painted up in that colour scheme.
Particularly lends itself well to those legions which are famous for being kind of.
So when your
durable
gun
or
runs out,
rugged
you
or
just
kind
lean
of
forward
taking
and
the punches
charge.
quite well. So Iron Warriors, of course, look very good for things like Death Guard, Imperial Fists, Salamanders, that sort of thing. Any of those kind of very kind of
Yeah,
rough and
because they're all
tumble
painted
stuff.
up. I mean, because
That
that's an
also does look
ultramarine.
as
That's a
I suppose
Blood
you can paint
Legion.
it if you
Okay.
want, yeah,
That's a
There you
world
go.
eater.
What
Oh,
have we
World
got next?
Eater.
World
yeah,
eater.
That's the only new thing on its way
Uh,
for the Horus Heresy. Let's have a look at the next video.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Daredeo. Is there going to be a plastic Daredeo? I'm talking about your Mad Cat.
You're right. I was like, that's a
That looks dope. Oh my god. Oh man. Clean up on aisle Chris.
okay, that's fucking wicked, dude.
I'm getting a ton of those. Oh man.
A brand new plastic Dorito Dreadnought fills out the last of the 3 famous kind of Horus Heresy Dreadnought styles alongside the Contemptor and the Leviathan. Nick, what do we know about this new
The
kit?
Dreadio Dreadnought is, of course, the absolute
Dread-
best in
Dreadio?
the gun platform.
No,
dreadnoughts. This
Dorito.
thing is
Dorito.
loaded with
The
weapons
Dorito.
all
The
over it.
Dorito.
Yeah.
This particular model is the plastic kit, is the Anvilus configuration. It comes with the
You
Arlos
need
missile
to-
launchers on its back, has twin heavy
You need
bolters
to
in
hide
its chest,
like
which you can swap
a
out for flames
Doritos
if you
logo
want to.
on
And of course, you can
one of these
use
when you paint it.
Anvilus
Well, see, yeah,
auto
that
cannon
crap, that
batteries
that
on
little
its
half
arms,
serpent
which
or
this model can
half
actually
moon.
swap out
Yeah.
for
Just
the
make that
plasma
little
cannons
Dorito.
as well, which
There
you
you go.
see here as
Oh,
well.
there you go
Loads
with the
of
plasma.
different weapon
Oh.
options for the kit to absolutely blow your opponents away from range.
Look at the
And
detail on the
Dreadnought's super tough
cabling.
as
That's
well,
really
so
cool.
it's easy to get rid of. This thing is a sort of like
Which one's a ground wire?
Warhammer
The
gun
black
line,
one.
but
The black one,
model.
the second one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously.
that's a
So
ground
it's like
wire.
a one-man gun line,
Absolutely.
basically.
Oh
Like a
man,
walking
I'm
turret
more excited in
for
this than I was a
army.
Space
You can
Marines
use it for
Codex.
any of your legions. It also has Legends rules for use in Warhammer 40,000 as well if you wanted to use it.
But
yeah,
not
it's just a really
usable
cool
in
model. We have seen this model
tournaments.
before in
It said
resin,
Legends
but the
rules, which
plastic
means you
obviously
can't.
makes
It's
it much more
casual play
accessible,
only
easy to
Oh,
build,
okay.
much easier to pose,
For
easy to kind of add
40K.
multiples to your army,
Because
all that stuff.
since it's 10,000 years
This
earlier,
model
these
and
units still
the,
technically exist.
Space Marine unit we just saw will be coming individually. They'll also be coming in
Ooh.
a Legionnaires Astartes battle group. So we've got a shot to show you all the things that are coming in that set, which is
That's a decent
30,
start to a heresy army.
30
Yeah,
Space
man.
Marines.
So Philip.
a Land Raider and one of the new plastic dreadnoughts. You'll also note that there's some special weapon sprues in this as well. So if you see the troopers at the back there, you can see some plasma guns and some Volkites. And you can see how easily the kits can be interchanged with lots of different special
Fuck that! I'm going
you get
all
almost enough special weapons if you
dreadnoughts
wanted to
now.
give almost
Holy
everything.
shit! That thing is so
Super good
cool.
box, actually, if
So
you're
now, is that supposed to
starting out
be
force, isn't it, rather than
A marine inside of a
adding on to
cockpit,
force,
or
you
is
can
it
use
like
No,
a,
it's
Yeah,
the
so
it's the
it's the
dread.
coffin thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
last
just
year, then
before they did
adding
the
this would be
sarcophagus
pretty
thing, like
much,
he keeps
more
his
than
head
3,000
basically.
points of
Gotcha.
Horus Heresy,
But
which
that
is
same
pretty cool, so
idea
you
of, you
can
know,
good to go.
we saved his head
If
basically
you
and
yet to
shoved
kind
him
of
in a
dip your toe into
war
Horus
suit,
Heresy and are looking for a good way to start,
which is why they.
this is a really good place to start.
Hey, it's like I just said
particularly
that.
if you're gonna lean into one of those
Basically, they keep them
where
off until
iron
they're
armor
like,
particularly is their kind
turn
of
on,
go-to,
fight.
plate.
because otherwise they get driven
It certainly seemed
insane
like an
because
iron
it's like
war,
I'm a
it's
head in
like
a
gun like
metal
that,
body.
the Mark III plate all over the place.
Yeah, you can use it for any.
Metal
But this certainly just looks good in heavy armor, right?
There we go. That does look quite tempting as well. I've not painted any Ultramarines for Horus Heresy.
That was a
Don't
that was a
matter.
line in the
Yeah,
It's
really
only
is.
a matter of time. Cool.
The-
All right. So there's some Horus Heresy there. We're going to jump back to the Mortal Realms now and have a look at something else.
in the
For Warcry, but
in the Doom installation manual.
yeah,
It
for when you run it on your fridge.
yeah. It went through and it listed all the enemies, and one of the flavor texts is like, "What happens when a demon dies? We pick it up, dust it off, slap some battle armor onto it, and send it back into battle."
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
"Oh, it's a
actually
dreadnought."
bringing us back to Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
There's the what are they called? It's the Space Marines basically for Sigmar. I'm trying to remember what they're called, but basically they're just like immortal warriors that when they're died they just go through like a trial or whatever, and then like sent back down and down. Your fight's not done, soldier. I just went brain dead and I completely forgot what they're called.
I'm sure they'll tell us in a minute.
So Hunter and Hunted, a new box on the way for Warcry, and we've seen some brand new miniatures in there, and even some new unit types as well, which is pretty cool. Tell us about this, man.
Yeah, so this is a new set for Warcry. All of the miniatures in this can also be used in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and this is basically a battle
so
set
Warcry is like
between
the kill
the Cities
team
of Sigmar
of
Hunters
Sigmar.
and Ogre Gorgers,
Makes sense.
which are a unit we haven't really seen for
Ogre
a very long time.
Gorgers.
So this is a little bit different from some of the Warcry sets we've seen in the past, where it tended to get 2 warbands, but you also got loads and loads of terrain. So the assumption is at this point that if you've been collecting Warcry for 2 or 3 years at this point, you probably have lots and lots of boards, and you don't need loads more terrain. So in this set, you get 1 really cool piece of terrain, and then 2 warbands. So there's lots of stuff you can immediately use, basically. The Gorgers are
So they're going the
5-man
apple route. You've already got a power
ogre
brick.
unit.
You don't need a new one.
And they are a really cool glow up on a classic ogre type. These are ogres which basically suffer from like extreme hunger. So ogres, normally you associate them with like very big, rotund, angry monsters, but they kind of have full bellies.
So
and are very
I'm
proud
looking at
makeups.
these models,
This
okay?
is the worst thing that
And
could possibly happen to an ogre as far as they're concerned.
Stormcast Eternals.
They
I just
haven't got
found
full
it.
guts,
Gotcha.
That's what
and
I was
they
talking
aren't
about.
they're
Are-
unable
are
to
those just
satiate the
ornament
hunger
pieces
inside
on their
themselves, and they kind of
legs,
become these pariah packs
or
of ogres
Are you
that
talking about
skulk
the
around the edges
knives?
of the camp
Is that a
and feed on
knife?
the
I think those are
offerings,
knives and
and kind of
pouches.
throw away
Okay,
scraps
I
and
don't
stuff.
think those are
And
pouches.
occasionally they wander out into
But, like-
settlements and to civilization because they
I-
do
Or
I
just
don't-
folds in
around
skin, maybe.
I'm thinking like
They don't want to-
remember
Well, no. It looks like it could. It's hard to tell from here, but the coloration of the straps is different than the skin.
I'm thinking that's not a strap. Remember back in the day when you would take like a sewing needle and put it through 1 layer of skin on your finger?
No.
You never did that?
No.
No. Okay, it's like you didn't stab yourself, but you put it through like that one layer of skin, and you kind of pierced your finger. You're like, oh, look at that. I'm just like,
And the
those
Sigmar
guys
set's the
have.
classic one, so that one
Yeah, I'm just
bottom
kind of
left
looking at some of the
is very
side, like
similar
up
to
there on
one of the
top. It
Gorgers that we've
looks.
seen
I don't know. It's hard to
before, but
tell.
These are much more detailed. They're plastic. There's some options in there as well in terms of like builds and things like that, which is really cool. And yeah, just a really cool unit. They are a Warcry warband in their own right. They can also be added into ogre forces, and they also in this box you've got that cool Maw pit as well, which is really cool.
Ooh. Oh, they got the little doggies. Look at the little
dwell
doggies.
on these guys for ages, but they come in that box as well.
That looks like a pug
the
almost.
Wildercorps are
On the
those
far
units
left.
in Sigmar that feel more at home in the wilderness than they do in the city.
Actually, I take
and
that
they
back.
go
The
out
third
to
one
kind of
looks more like a pug.
cull
Yeah.
the local monsters and track and find the trails and things for the rest of the free cities to find their new settlements.
And as the chat is pointing out,
Okay, yeah.
there are
The Hoser 40K says I think Philip is right. Some sort of piercing. You know what? You're probably right.
5 great dogs.
I mean,
as well.
j-
they're a violent, angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that-
So-
In Warcry, they're all about standing back and shooting
So
with their
speaking
big
of, they're talking about
crossbows,
Nova.
letting
You see those
enemies close in,
stacks of
and then if
bins
you
over
want
there?
special reactions,
Uh-huh.
that's
I'm
the
tempted
escape
to
from
just take
combat
all
and get
those
to the place.
bits because like I'm not signed up for a lot of games or any games really other than maybe one. But it's like I might ad hoc jump into one. But it's like, what do I take? Do I take the heresy stuff or the 40K stuff? And
Miniatures and a wonderful little painting
ooh, I
process.
want those dogs. Yeah.
Must have. Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
And this is the
Hey,
Maw
that's what
pit, so
Boba
The
Fett.
Maw
ca-
pit, yeah,
That's
right?
what Boba
That's
Fett
a
crawled out of.
Sarlacc. That's a Sarlacc
Either
pit.
add it into your Warcry battles, or you can
And
have
that's
this
the
as
ship that they
a
drop
swap
that
out
they're
the
gonna drop the guys in.
cauldron
There we
like
go,
what
yeah.
have in Ogre Army and Age of Sigmar, and have
The
this instead.
ferry.
And what it basically represents is a great.
I was
gullet,
born here, you know.
In the
You're gonna
realm,
die here, you
and
know.
The ogres believe that this is a manifestation of their deity. Whether that is true or not, what they do is they take some of their victims from their raids and things and throw kind of choice offerings into this pit. So if you are captured by the ogres, you are either beaten by the ogres or thrown into this pit. And I'm not sure which is worse,
Or
to be
both.
honest, or a bit of both maybe.
You just like dump a whole bottle of what?
The Maw OC looking wild.
So they're just about enough wherewithal
Ma
to kind of try to
Ussy.
use
Hey, there you go, Philip.
sacrifices
Or
to
Phil.
throw them in.
It's wholly
We gotta
different.
we gotta bring back the
It really
Ussy.
is like
Somebody
having
went with
a horror
Sarlacc.
film
They call it
on
the
there. It's like
Sarlussy.
truly horrifying.
Sarlussy.
Sarlussy's
It's
so
when you,
good,
like,
I went back
imagine
in.
what might be how far down does it go? What's
Just when they got me right back
What
out.
is it?
terrifying.
Yeah.
That Sarlussy pulls me back in.
There we go.
Do we get a Boba Fett figure if we buy the Sarlacc?
It's very cool. Yeah, the Warcry has had some incredible miniatures, and I think this is no exception.
Also nice, and of course, that if you get those.
Okay, this dude in the chat is late to the party. Marines were already here, bro.
Or was he like, where's the Space Marines?
Right.
He's like, we want Marines.
Speaking of hungry, we'll see what we got
I
next.
am quite hungry.
Unless they meant like the Stormcast Eternal because they're like the Sigma Marines.
Okay.
Vampires? Blood Bowl.
Second season edition.
Yeah. Well, they rebooted it in 2016, and then in 2020 they came out with or 2021 they came out with the second season that nobody likes apparently.
Gotcha.
That guy looked like Phantom of the Opera there. He had like the puffy shirt.
Yeah, man.
I want to suck your blood.
Put the blood in Blood Bowl.
That guy looked like proper Dracula, like high school play Dracula.
Classic team for Blood Bowl, of course, but with a reimagining with a sort of real classic.
Like that guy back there is like, the sun. Can't we play in the dark?
Yeah, so we've seen a few undead warbands, undead teams for Blood Bowl, and these take a very different angle. They've got a kind of romance horror sort of vibe to them. So you can see a mix there of vampires, which are obviously very capable. They're all the things you want a Blood Bowl player
There's
to
a
be.
little
They're
bat
fast
guy.
and tough and killy, and you've got the thralls in there as well, which are basically the walking packed lunches for the vampires.
Even covered in bandages and plasters where they've been bitten all over the place in their big frilly shirts. The actual team, in terms of the game, have changed quite a little bit. They
okay,
still
hold on.
sometimes feed upon the thralls in the middle of the game.
Yeah, so sometimes like if you move your guy too close to one of the other guys, you roll and you end up eating your other dude.
For the first time, which is so called, have a vampire with a pass skill. And also in the team, blitzers, which we've had before, which we can see here, they've got the juggernaut skill.
Dracula, go
Also,
long!
we've got runners in the team as well for the first time. They're movement 8. They're so fast.
Oh shit, that is a lot actually.
Skinks that kill you.
Literally skinks that kill you. Yeah,
That's almost like
terrifying,
that's
terrifying
over half
players.
the
You pay
board, I
gold
think.
coins for them, of
damn.
course, but they're great. So a really nice reimagining of the team. Wonderful new miniatures, and I love that harking back to. It's the classic.
There you go.
classic
You need to paint
horror
him up like
stuff.
Seinfeld puffy shirt. Guy on the far right.
There's lots of as we've seen with Blood Bowl, that the miniatures designers have taken the opportunity to add some.
Guy on the
humor in there
left's
as well.
like,
So
guys,
lots of the kind
I
of
don't think that
peripheral
this
bits
is
you get
legally
there,
allowed. I don't think this is
tokens
allowed for me to
and
bring on the field.
There's lots of bats doing various things in coffins and hanging upside down and being generally mischievous. So it's a really fun team.
I'm all about the plasters everyone's wearing. It's just like hints they've been bitten all over the place. That's just fantastic.
Poofy shirts as well.
The poofy
Bring it
shirts,
back.
got-
Bring it back.
There we go. On the way for Blood Bowl very, very soon, and can't wait for them.
Yeah. And then we've got some other board game news for you as well.
Okay, what we got?
Underworlds? Yeah. So Underworlds is another Age of Sigmar game that's more of a board game than it is a minis game.
Okay.
Where like think LCG where you build a deck. That the deck's like your different abilities, but you still roll dice and move on a board. Hey, was that Grievous?
That's what it looked like, man.
Somebody's been watching too much Star Wars.
Got a Sarlacc. We got Grievous.
A brand new series for Warhammer Underworld, Death Gorge. Nick, what do we know about this
I'm
box?
so excited. Well, Death Gorge takes the action to Antador, where the General's Handbook for Warhammer Age of Sigmar has it. The whole place has been frozen over by the Everwinter. There's a frozen wasteland, and we've got a whole new season of Underworlds with really cool miniatures, loads of cool little rules tweaks as well all over the place. But I know what everyone's saying in the chat. There's a squid, Eddie, and in that warband.
Oh, yeah, there
it's
is.
just the
I
coolest thing. When it
missed
comes out in a
that.
moment, of course, we know it's there. The whole season's changed. There's a few rules tweaks here that make the life better for players. A few little things to make life clearer as well. You can add the plunder rule gets changed, for example, if you play Underworld. But the big news of the season are the two new warbands in there: Sirenes Razors, the Idneth Deepkin, and the Thricefold Discord, who are the Slaneshi Demonettes.
This
So
right
let's
full
talk about
Discord.
The Slanesh Warband first. So this is some quite interesting takes on the Slaneshi vibe. What do we know about these guys?
Damn it, I
So,
forgot
you're
my
absolutely right.
login to the
They are
Thrice Full
actually- they're
Discord.
Sort of, reminiscent of the sort of excess that Slanesh shows. The leader is Vexor.
Oh, there you go.
Vexor,
There's
the
your
excess of the Indolent
there.
in the centre.
Yeah, there's your
Who's the laziest
Grievous.
demon ever and actually thrives off the laziness.
General
She's so
Kenobi.
lazy, if she fails to defend herself, she takes less damage in combat, which is cool. We've got
Okay, that's a great mechanic.
Blessing on the right. And
I missed it,
Valkyries
what'd I say?
the Coiled on the
So
left.
the leader is
They all
actually
hate each
extremely
other. And
lazy.
in fact, they
Yeah.
get better
And
in
if
the game
she
as one
fails
of
to
the other ones
defend
fails,
herself in
which
combat,
is
she
great.
takes less
They're a
damage.
really cool
Nice.
warband in the game, quite tanky, and quite aggro as well. So get them involved into a fight. They're just really cool models to paint up. and a wonderful warband to use. Pretty difficult to use in terms of the game. They've also got some really cool little rules tweaks in there as well. There's some cards called Temptations, where you can offer your opponents a choice to make.
It's a little bit like the mechanic in Age of Sigmar.
Absolutely, you know, they're both bad choices, but you've got a choice to make. And they've also got some upgrades called False Gifts, which you can give to enemy fighters. They appear to be good, but have a downside. Like you might get a +1 wound, but you might not be able to move anymore, which is just cool, right? That's proper Slaneshi. And of course, the other warband facing.
I'll get you,
Gadget!
Gadget!
Yeah, because I think everybody wants to know about this guy. So I assume the warband leader here.
You just get a bunch of those, line the board with that.
No, actually not. This is Sephanir, the cephalopod. Is just absolutely monstrous. He's huge as well. It doesn't really quite show you how big this model is, but he's monstrous in the game as well. And you'll be happy to know he's got a special rule in the game where if he gets attacked, he can squirt ink in your face and escape. Which is just the coolest image I can think of.
So it does come with some other models as well.
Of course, yeah.
So this is an Ideneth warband.
Hey, look, it's Morbius on the far left.
I was just looking at that. Yeah.
Do a bit of everything.
Yeah, they are a flex aggro warband.
Jared Leto?
Objectives as well. You've got the battle mage in the centre, who is the leader, Serenity of the Abyss, and the two Namati either side, who are just good warriors who just dish out the attacks. Yeah, they're a really good fun aggro warband.
There's a little tiny squid.
There's two of them.
Two of them. You're right. As soon as I point out one, I saw the second one. I saw the tiny one first.
And controlling what they do and manipulating, these guys just run forward and smash your face in, and they're very good at it too. So both really good fun to get involved in. And there's a squid, so we can't really...
Can't go wrong,
Can't go wrong with that, no. It's absolutely brilliant.
I mean, it wouldn't have been my first choice to invade an icy chasm, but, you know, that's fine. You know, they've gone with squid. That's fine.
Of course, the box comes with 4 decks of cards for Warhammer Underworlds. On the top, you've got the 2 Rivals decks. Which
I wish I could read them, but I can't.
Bands. And the bottom as well, 2 Universal Rivals decks, which any warband can
Breakneck
use.
Slaughter and Force of Frost.
Yeah.
Breakneck Slaughter, as you would imagine, is all our aggro and smashing people's faces in. Force of Frost is about a bit more ball control.
Hey, I got him.
So, yeah, they're useful for any player who plays.
Oh, so it's just...
Even
there
if
it
you
goes.
don't want to paint a squid or some lazy demonettes, then you absolutely can get this box and still use it for any warband in the game as well. So it's a must-have for any Warhammer Underworlds players.
It's also worth saying this is a really good box to start playing Warhammer Underworld. So any of the season sets, basically...
One guy in the chat.
Board,
Anybody else
warbands,
working on their minis while you're watching this?
So this
Probably
is
a good
self-contained
amount.
game. So just by buying
Like,
this set,
if we weren't streaming this, I might be painting. So yeah,
but obviously
Didn't you say
gives
this was
an
an hour
into
20?
Warhammer Underworld if you want to
It's
take
crucially the
it
place to get hold of
Something like that.
the latest edition of
People in
Underworld
chat are
as
like,
well,
"Oh, there's
which
only
is,
5 minutes left. There's only 5 minutes
the
left."
ultimate
I don't know.
special game
So
towards
it was
Warhammer
it was slated for an hour 20 on the Nova Open website.
Okay.
But they are also running out of games, so we could be towards the end.
Yeah, they said TOW is next.
Oh yes, the old King or
The old ways.
no, the old
Very
world.
cool.
The old
I
world.
cannot wait to get hold of that box. I'm a big fan of Underworlds. There we go. We've got
Cool.
more.
All right. Well, we've had some stuff in the Mortal Realms. We're going to hop over now to the Old World and have a look at a new model.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, look at that. It's a unicorn that will straight up murder you.
It's a magical unicorn. I'm working on a Frostgrave board, so close.
Oh, yeah.
Horses are out.
Whoa, was that a free foot in this economy?
Yeah, you're right. It's a unicorn.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And it looks angry as shit.
That looks like one of those precious moments, kind of like if that was made out of porcelain, I would not be surprised. Like I think my mom has that mini on her shelf. That game's not out yet, so that's why they're just teasing.
Gotcha.
What an
Gotcha.
absolutely stunning miniature on the way for the Bretonians for the Old World. That is Lady Elise Duchard.
What's
special
the
character,
what's the round
of
trip for you to get
Bretonians,
home?
Riding a unicorn.
You'd be like, "Mom, I just need to borrow this.
and
I'll
just
bring
has
it back
to be
next
one
week."
of the most beautiful
Or excuse me,
miniatures
no,
I've
that
ever
would
seen.
it's on my grandmother's shelf, not my
really
mom's
okay,
shelf.
gotcha.
Like, I think
I wasn't
we're
going
so
back.
used to
I
seeing
wasn't going
Warhammer
back old
miniatures that are,
enough.
like,
There you go.
Covered in skulls and bedecked in kind of gothic features that actually. This is just a really.
But yeah, that'd be like a
really handsome
non-stop
horse.
12-hour trip.
There you
Like
go.
a beautiful
Grandma, I'm just gonna borrow this.
great
Okay.
miniature.
That's
Very
a
different
one-way
sort of
Gen
thing to
Con trip.
paint. So this is going to look spectacular and really stand out in the middle of a Bretonian army. If you imagine everything else is like vivid, bright primary colours and galloping horses and shining lances, and then you've got this kind of single radiant point of light right in the middle, as you expect representing the.
Yeah,
the
no,
Lady
I'm
of the
throwing a
Lake
little
and the the chalice of the grave.
Throwing a
itself.
little
Just absolutely
dark,
stunning.
dark
Just the sculpt of the unicorn
brown
itself is
with a
beautiful. Look at
small
its
red
face,
highlight
it's
on the horn.
So much character and energy in there, and the
You making
purity
that a
of
bloody
line
horn?
Oh yeah,
Just-
oh yeah.
You also have to have some blood on like the face, so that like it fully goes in.
But you got to go with
Or even better, you get one of their stray
Certainly
arms
of
from
the-
some
the
other
damsels
army,
of Bretonnia.
Yes.
drill a hole in it, and
The Bretonians aren't
shove it in there,
all,
and then do all the blood
nobility
around
and
it.
chivalry, perhaps, but they certainly represent it more than most factions do in Warhammer. Some really nice nods on this miniature to some classic models. So if you've been playing Warhammer Fantasy before, you'll remember the Fey Enchantress miniature, and there's lots of kind of nods to some of those early incarnations of the Fey Enchantress.
Yeah, it's
the
standing on a
unicorn,
rock.
obviously.
Tactical
some of the kind of,
rock.
the hair
Oh, those
and the
previous
heraldry
versions
and
of this, I'm
That's
assuming.
what I'm
aesthetic
thinking, yeah.
touches on this
Less
unicorn.
precious moments.
It's
Yeah.
kind of
The one on the far right has a
rather
beard.
than like a armor or anything. It's actually harnessed with the power of nature, rather than kind of anything else, which is kind of nodding towards the magical power of the damsel herself.
Even the reins around the unicorn's neck are sort of garland made of thorns and branches, which really pays off that. And it's nice to see as well the glow up sort of from the right hand screen across.
No
to
horses
the
were
bench,
harmed
which
in the
really
making
is
of
to
this.
come to Lady Elise.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
every single time those miniatures came out, I was like, that's one of the best miniatures that exists. And
Yeah.
there's just
Oh, you were
something about
talking the
pretending
unicorn
that
has a beard.
it just seems to
I thought you were talking about
Yeah.
the lady had
no,
a
one on the
beard.
far right. The unicorn has a beard, man.
There we go.
really amazing model.
Absolutely stunning stuff, and
And a
yeah,
lot
can't
of
wait to,
weird hair growing out
paint
of the
that one.
top of the hoof. That was
Chat's
Yeah.
in the people in the chat asking Eddie, what's that being made out of? That
So that is a resin miniature. So I think in your head, if you imagine this is being approached in a similar way to something like the Primarch series we had for the Horus Heresy. So there will be like a range of very, very detailed, very
Also, it means
Wow.
very, very expensive.
I was gonna say, you're like, ugh, resin.
There will also
Yeah,
be
'cause
plastic miniatures
Resin
for
also means like you
lots of
can't use
projects.
plastic glue,
So, yeah,
obviously,
good
because
mix
it's
of
not plastic to put together.
There we go.
Whereas,
it's a little
so you have to
tease
use
on more
super glue,
stuff
which
to
can be
come in
brittle
future.
and
If the
break
quality
if
is
you
there for the
like
other
under
we've got some
torsion.
to look forward to.
Do indeed.
Super glue will break.
We have one last thing
Uh
to show the
One
fans.
more thing.
I think this might be the
Chucky!
showstopper miniature. We've had some pretty impressive miniatures so far.
One
in this
more
preview.
thing.
We've had the new Trog. We've had the Bretonian Damsel.
What could it be?
Dreadnoughts. There's
Primarch?
Space Marines. Some people like Space Marines.
Clonk and a squid.
Clonk, of course.
You make my dwarf mobility
this
scooter out
miniature
of resin,
might
I'll
be,
revolt.
The best of all of them, and maybe the best miniature of the year.
You reckon?
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll let you decide for yourselves
Here
as
we
we
go.
have a look at our last preview. Raph, do you wanna roll film?
Hey, it's Illidan.
oh. Oh, is this Lorgar?
It's a naga. It's got a snake tail.
Is this Lorgar?
4 arms is what it's got.
Or not Logar. What's his name?
It's got more than 4 arms.
Emperor's Children.
No, it doesn't.
Dude, what is his? Oh man, he had his own book. Fulgrim. Oh shit, they're making a Fulgrim figure.
I saw that floating through chat here. They asked about like way early.
Yeah. Well, because they have Magnus, and they have like so. Magnus is your god of
Fulgrim
hold on, wait.
transfigured, a new character miniature
Primarch
for
of
the
the
Horus
Emperor's
Heresy
Children.
series.
so this is
Absolutely
the
incredible
ascended
model.
version of
This
Fulgrim.
is the second of the Primarchs that we've seen kind of
So I was right. It was a Primarch.
released
Oh, there
in
you
the
go.
wake of their ascension through the powers of chaos, and an absolutely jaw-dropping miniature. Nick, what do you want to say about
It's
it?
just absolutely stunning, isn't it? Just look. I mean, Fulgrim is a personification of perfection, and the miniature reflects that perfectly. It's just absolutely
Snakes
stunning.
is
Everything
a-
you would have wanted
is a
from this model. And
perfection.
How you imagine him when he ascends to demonhood. Just more stuff to keep looking at all over the place, like the little faces in the cloaks, or the beautiful.
See,
scale.
everyone's like 40. No, everyone's like 40K. No.
The wings, the beautiful face. It's been rendered absolutely incredibly by the Forge World sculptors.
Oh, now we got the Amazon ad on the side.
Ah, that's what the
Lots
yeah.
of nods in this miniature to some of the
Which is in your history, guys.
Which is in more.
Beyond Raw Lit AF.
Yeah.
Which is
which
pre-workout,
is
I think.
more detailed than the
Horus
actual
Heresy, just
video.
after he's been kind of ascended to demonhood, just before the events of the Siege of Terror, sort of thing.
Yeah, so they have all the
So,
Primarchs at the
lots of
beginning
you,
of the
I'm sure,
heresy,
would like to
and
see,
now they're
him
making
appear in
models
one
for
of
the
houses.
for the
Maybe
end
he
of the
will one
heresy,
day,
Gotcha.
like when
but
they've
until that
been
time,
corrupted. So they started with
And again, this is
Horus
resin
Ascended.
miniature.
It is a resin miniature, yes. So much like
another resin
Horus
miniature.
Ascended,
Oh yeah,
it's
all
got
the
same sort of
heresy ones.
vibe.
So you pay like 150
A
bucks
character
for
that's kind of
that.
been reborn
That one
in
probably
the
170.
events
That
of the
wing
Heresy.
is
We might see more
jacked.
Primarchs
Yeah.
meet a similar fate as well as the series goes on.
Like,
But yeah,
bro.
an absolutely beautiful addition to anybody who's got a Horus Heresy traitorous force.
It's absolutely stunning and huge as well. I've been lucky enough to see it in person, and it's just
You
absolutely.
got to show like a space marine next to it to show the
Yeah,
size.
give a.
So the character himself has kind of.
I need to
slowly
walk the
power,
dogs.
obviously
Thanks
got
for the
more
stream.
arms,
Thank
he's
you for
got
watching.
Snake body. The body of the Primarch himself is a little bigger than some of the his brothers now, but that added with the kind of extra scale of the snake body and
With
the
the
wing that makes it tower
wingspan,
over
man,
pretty
that's-
much
Yeah.
anything short of a knight in Horus Heresy games.
Like, just what I'm seeing there-
Certain painting project as well. If you play Horus Heresy, what a way to finish, Eddie.
Yeah,
That's
the
been-
wing is
That's
taller
The
than
wing is as tall as
no,
the
no,
feet.
it's taller.
Nick, have you got any particular highlights?
Oh, yeah,
I mean-
obviously you're a big Ultramarine fan. Has anything stolen the limelight?
We
for you?
saw Ultramarines at the start. I was quite happy with those Ultramarines later on. That was good. But
I-
for me personally,
I'm
a huge Warhammer
still
fan.
coming
I'm
down
definitely
from that
watching
Daredeo
videos
high
as
though.
well.
That
Just
Dorito was,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some great stuff in there. I am a big Destruction fan for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, so I am excited about Trug the Troggoth King. I think he might be my most excited thing.
Do you know,
But, I mean, it's all good.
The one I wasn't expecting at all was I need to get hold of that Lady Elise Dishard and paint her up. It's just one of the best miniatures Games Workshop's ever released. So that's definitely going to be on my painting table as well. Guys, I think that's it. We're going to wrap up.
That is. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us, guys. If you were also with us at the Nova Open itself, thank you for joining us there. This has been the Warhammer Preview Online. I'd like to say a big thanks for all of you who are in the chat following along. A big thanks to Notley, who's been keeping you all behaved. A big thanks to Raf, who's been making sure all the videos play. And Nick, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Who's making sure we're not like Fantasy Flight that one year? All right, we don't need. Okay,
Smashing the wall.
so back to us here. Back to us. All right. So you just saw. Okay, here's the real question though.
Yeah.
Did anything you see there make you want to play any of their games?
Nope.
Oh, damn it!
Nope. Unless, well, no, because I don't know. So, like, you remember when we were playing X-Wing, and we would see people with like cases that were as tall as them, full of stuff, and I was like, dude, what the hell? And you were like, oh, he's the group's X-Wing guy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you want to play X-Wing? Sure. What do you want to do? I got 50 of everything.
You just described like everybody that's played 40K more than 3 years.
Okay.
So if it's literally models that are holding you back, bro, you just tell me what you want to play.
I was gonna say, like, if I could walk in and you're like, hey, we're doing a full army. Here's an army.
Bro, I have 3 armies now. I have Ultramarines, I've got the Knights, and I've got Grey Knights, that my first army.
So what was your thing? So you said, like, except for Grey Knights.
So here's the thing. So Grey Knights are considered, it's funny. So there's all these different chapters. Grey Knights are technically listed as the 666th chapter.
Okay.
But they're also like a secret chapter.
Gotcha.
But they're not. They have a different codex from Space Marines. They're a different faction, so that's why like they're not Space Marines in that sense.
Okay.
But like they are Space Marines in that they are genetically the same as Space Marines, except so the way it works is each Space Marine gets a gene seed of a Primarch.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Ultramarines is Gilliman. Even there's the first founding, which are all the legions, the Horus Heresy legions, and then after the heresy, Gilliman, the Ultramarines leader, was like, these legions are too strong. They would be like, you'd have tens of hundreds of thousands of units. Like, we don't need one guy holding that much power. Otherwise, we're going to end up in another heresy. So he wrote a book, the Codex Astartes, and said, fuck legions, we're going to go with Space Marine chapters, and you can't have a chapter more than 1,000 Marines. So not like one guy could control a whole bunch. Not everybody agrees with. The Black Templars are famously like, fuck you, we're going to have as many people as we want.
All right.
Like, they just don't tell them how many they have. And that's how it is. Like, it's rumored it could be anywhere like 5,000 to 6,000 people.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
One of the book series I read, there it when you read this book series, it is World War One and World War Two,
Mm-hmm.
but in space over a large. So there's this race of 7-foot tall walking bears. They live in a star system, like their home star system has a sun that barely puts out enough energy to have a planet in the habitable zone. So it's cold and frozen and snowing all the time. And
No, it's Fenris. Space Wolves.
it's Russia.
Yeah.
It's Russia. So you sit there and like anytime they're talking, and they talk in Russian accents. In the book. It's so great. They're one of the portions of the treaty that ended World War One was like, oh, you can't have these big armies and da 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 da. You can't have all these separate. So they just took all of their different armies and they're like, oh, these are now just numbered divisions of the home guard. all we have is a home guard. That's all we've got.
Yeah. So
they just don't tell anybody. Oh,
yeah, exactly. So even the successors, they trace their lineage back. So like successors are a branch off, or the Templars are a branch off of the Imperial Fist, the yellow guys I have over there, whose Primarch was Vrogel Dorn. Or, like some other people are like, oh, we're not Blood Angels, but Sanguinius is still our Primarch. We're now the flesh bearers or flesh terrors instead, or like Size of the Emperor, they're on Ultramarines branch. Grey Knights are different.
Okay.
The rumor is, or the legend goes, is that the Emperor is their gene seed.
Ooh.
And so basically the Grey Knights are supposed to be incorruptible space marines that are designed to kill chaos demons.
Gotcha.
Like in fact, before they were the Codex, before it was called like Grey Knights, it was called Demon Hunters.
Oh,
that's what they were, just the demon hunters. So it was basically after it was like right before the Emperor got killed or like mortally wounded, he was like, look, I need a group of people that's not going to get corrupted by chaos that can go kill demons, because if you just send regular people, the temptation's going to be there. Even Space Marines aren't strong enough to resist it, as we've just seen, because all these legions have just turned against me. So he's like, I need incorruptible warriors that like they're all psychers. So that's the thing. In other chapters, you have like a group of psychers and they're librarians, and that's the what you do. In Grey Knights, everybody's a psyker because you're trained to resist the temptations of chaos.
You gotta have.
So you gotta have that psychic. You have to have basically a psychic shield to protect you against that. So yeah, that's they're Space Marines, but they're not.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Who? There in something in the lore, there was a chapter that like if they showed up to help you win a battle, you were gonna die anyway.
Oh, the Legion of the Damned?
I think so.
I think that's what you're thinking of. It's basically a bunch of dead spirits that just assume Legion Space Marine bodies.
I thought it was something like to keep that Legion a secret. No one could know that Legion exists. Something, was it wolves? Is Iron Wolves a thing?
No. So the Grey Knights, in prior times, if the Grey Knights showed up, they killed or erased people's memories of their existence. If you saw them,
okay,
they either killed you or wiped your memory.
So it was Grey Knight. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
it was Grey Knights.
But that was because they tried to keep the existence of demons a secret.
Okay, yep. That's where I was.
But then the Great Rift opened, so Abaddon, who basically took on the role of Horus. So Horus led the Lunar Wolves, who became the Sons of Horus. So Abaddon was his first lieutenant, his right-hand man dude. When Horus died, he basically became the new War Master eventually. I'm paraphrasing here. And he started a new legion called the Black Legion, which was basically because the traitors had kind of like been fragmented. And he's like, look, I don't care what you are. We need to like fight back against those filthy Imperials. And so paint your armor black and let's go to it. And he There's the Eye of Terror, which is this like hole in space
Okay.
that's like between. It actually kind of connects real space and the warp. It's basically just like a rip in space.
Okay.
And that's like the main way that people go in and out of like into the warp where they call it like the eye space. It's like a section of the warp. That's where like a lot of the traders end up hiding after the heresy. But there's right outside the Terra right outside the Eye of Terror, there's a planet called Cadia. And like constantly they'd be fighting over this planet because it's right there on the edge of basically trader space. And on the 13th Crusade, Abaddon, I don't know the whole lore about this. Abaddon did something on his 13th Black Crusade where he triggered a bunch of relics in a ritual or something, and it basically shattered space itself.
Oh, fun.
It created this huge rift, basically broke the universe or broke the galaxy in half with this big rift that's just pouring out psychic and chaotic energy. Blinded half the so they have now like the half of the Imperium they call Imperial Nihilus can't see the Astronomicon, which is how they navigate through the warp.
Okay, yep.
So like that's shut off to them. Like they can't pierce through this veil.
Oh, sweet.
They also can't talk to each other through the warp back and forth. Like no messages are getting through. It's just like a black veil. But with that, like psychic energy is now completely ramped up. Demons are just kind of like thrown out and appearing out of nowhere. So they can't really keep demons the existence anymore.
Yeah, it's not secret anymore.
So Grey Knights aren't really that much of a secret anymore.
Okay, so it was the Grey Knights.
Yeah.
But
there's another thing that's called like Legion. The part that's the part that made me think of the Legion of the Damned is it's supposed to be like when all hope is lost.
Okay.
They show up out of nowhere and then they quickly vanish. Of like when all hope is lost, everything's doomed, and like there's nothing you can do. Like you're going out with your last dying breath. Like people swear they see like the Legion of the Damned show up to help them.
Oh, okay.
So like
Gotcha.
on Baal, the planet for the blood angels, like the Tyranids come en masse, like huge hive fleet to just completely ransack Baal. And so they like bring in like it's like the first time one of the legions kind of comes back together because the leader of the blood angels says like, look, y'all all originated from Sanguinius, who originated from Baal. So like you're gonna hate it if they kill Baal. We need all your help. And hey, I'll direct everybody if you give me control. Like I'm not gonna force you to do anything.
I gotcha.
So they kind of like, but even then, still like the Leviathan or the Tyranids just are just destroying everything. And then like as like to the point where the Blood Angels are the group that like if you fight for like every Blood Angel at some point gets to the point where they just go completely bloodlust.
Okay.
And they kind of like chain them up in this like dungeon because they don't want to kill them. So when things got real bad, they just opened it up and let them loose. And like even when that got really bad, they were like, then it was like we're doomed or whatever. But like, if I'm gonna go out fighting. And then like as they're attacking, they see like the Legion of the Damned show up as well.
Oh, all right.
Fun fact, they ended up winning that because at the same time this is happening is when the Great Rift opens. And when the Great Rift opens, it violently disrupts the Tyranids because they're all linked together as kind of like one psychic being.
Okay.
And it just like completely cuts them off. So each individual thing starts acting like its own, like not like a mindless body, basically. Like they're not acting as a unified force anymore.
Okay,
and then they just kind of go through and start cleaning them up. So.
Because I'm still standing.
So yeah, all that to say is like, dude, we can get you an army. No problem. Like I have plenty myself. You just need to do the lore research to tell me who you want to play.
Yeah,
that'll be I can find somebody that has a painted army.
Need to find a Dorito.
A Dorito?
Well, you got well, did they say they were going to have a book on them? Well, I mean, it
already exists.
Oh, it already exists?
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I can show
you could know like Like, what's a point value for a
like 300 points.
300
something like
points?
that.
Okay, so I don't know if each Dorito's worth 50 points.
Yeah.
Probably-
No,
it's probably really
Sorry,
low.
I was saying like the Daredeo was like 300, or probably around like 300 points.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like standard army for Heresy goes between 2,000 to 3,000. Kind of like how big scale do you want it?
Oh, okay, 3,000. So you could have 10.
Yes and no.
Somebody's got to be able to like tell them where to go.
Well, no, there's a limit on how many of a type you can have.
Oh,
Like a sheet, but there's also rules that allow you to I have to look into it. It's one of those, there's a rule for everything, so
yeah.
that's where Heresy's a little bit harder to jump into, because that's like the rulesiest of rulesy Warhammer games. 10th edition's a little bit easier on the noggin there. But so yeah, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Catch us back. If you're gonna be at Nova Open, come to the show. You saw the huge stack of games out there. That's all outside of the door right here. You passed by a stack of games.
I didn't pay attention.
Okay, that was giveaway stuff.
That's giveaway pile. Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you're gonna be at Nova Open Saturday, 8:00, go to tabletop.events. You can get a ticket. It's free. We're gonna be there. We're gonna have Adam and Vince from Snarling Badger Studios. It's gonna be great. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Otherwise, boardsandswords.com/live for finding out when we're going live next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.